Hello, this is Philip Young, and I'll be presenting Group 3's wireless interpretation project. We did heat mapping, and you can see the group members listed below. We had 5 people in this group, and we all contributed towards this project. And the first question is, what is heat mapping? Here shown below is a heat map of a wireless network, and we're going to be discussing what heat mapping is, its uses, and how it can benefit a wireless network. In the definition of heat mapping, they use color to display the density of information. Typically, your hotter colors, which would be your red, orange, and yellows, would illustrate more a better number or higher density for that number. And your reds, they're typically going to have the highest data values. So your cooler colors, which would be your blues and greens, they would have lower data values as opposed to the hotter colors. Though, as we'll see in this presentation, they can change. That can particularly change depending on the application. There are several uses for heat mapping, and you'll see those widely in the sciences. You have web page analytics. You have it used in biology, meteorology, of course, wireless technology analytics, and there's just many other fields in the sciences. When I was doing research on this topic, I saw how they actually used a heat map for different diseases to show the infection rate. So there's just a wide range of fields in the sciences where you can use heat mappings to portray data. In the heat mapping for the web page analytics, I've put a screenshot below. You'll see that the most frequently visited areas are highlighted on a web page when you use this with a particular piece of heat mapping software. So in this example, you'll see that the first 3 search results are most widely clicked on, and that generally the green, it's a little bit more rare, but you see how they can use that to track how users access sites, and that basically has these companies wanting to be at the top of when a Google search returns, so because they know that through these analytics that the users are going to be most likely clicking on the first 3 links as displayed below. And it's also, like I said, it's used in biology as well. The screenshot below is displayed in molecular biology to identify the level of expression for genes. And it's just another way to portray data using the field of biology. And it's also used in sociology as well, another field of the sciences. Basically, in Great Britain 2009, a heat map was compiled showing where energy demand and consumption was the highest. And there were 4 maps drawn, one for domestic heat, another for those not using electricity, and one each for the same purpose produced non-domestically. And on this next slide, we have one of those heat maps here. And all 4 maps are, for the most part, the same due to the similar needs for each map. And you can see throughout Great Britain, or the UK, as they say, the different data for this heat map as it pertains to heating. And the main focus of this presentation for our project is for the wireless analytics using heat mapping. So prior to installing a WLAN, heat map is important when performing propagation testing. And it's also important to use a heat map to verify signal coverage and show network coverage in real time. And you can show the locations of clients and client coverage quality. So it's very important. It actually helps your WLAN by using a heat map in ensuring everything is proper and everyone's getting signal and everything is where it's supposed to be. So we're going to look at this image again, and just with the brief definitions of heat mapping that I have discussed, we're just going to go over this in more detail. So just by looking at the map, we can determine the areas of the greatest signal strength. As I've discussed previously, the red areas have the highest signal strength. The orange areas have medium signal, still good. Yellow has fair signal, and your blues and greens are going to have poor to no signal. These will be your trouble spots where people are not getting, they're having problematic signal connections. They're not able to connect, or they get it dropped out while they're doing something on the network, which of course that can be major if they're doing some type of project or something like that, or compiling a report, submitting files and that type of thing. So the importance of heat mapping in wireless analytics, we definitely want to know thy signal. So we can find out where our signal is good and poor by using a heat map. So we can see where we have our highest points where signal is good and we're able to connect, we have good data rates, and then we can find those problem areas, the dead spots, where signal is poor. Basically, it can also help combat war driving to some extent. Do we want our signal to go out that far? If it's going out way more than we intend, then we can possibly try to look at ways to minimize our signal bleeding out of the area that we want the signal to be. That could boost our security for our network. And of course, we can make the most of our equipment by maximizing our signal strength, while also ensuring our network is secure and that our clients are able to connect to the network and do what they need to do, and the network runs smoothly. So we're going to look at some benefits of wireless heat mapping. Of course, it can eliminate the expensive site surveys where you have someone come out and you have to pay them and pay their company and just pay all these charges. So that does eliminate that. You can either use it for your home use as well. In many cases, you can get these programs for free to help maximize your home wireless network. Another benefit is that it improves the efficiency of the network, because we have everyone that's connected. They're able to maximize the data resources and signal resources. We can improve a wireless signal strength by trying to isolate dead or trouble spots, and in some cases eliminating them. So it's definitely a great benefit to use heat mapping when you're trying to implement a WLAN, so we can have an efficient, secure network in which people are also productive and maximizing the resources of the network. So basically, it's a win-win for wireless communications, just as the benefits I've discussed, because you reap so much benefits by using heat mapping. Other than if you just set up a wireless network and just went with it and you had no idea where your signal was or anything like that. So it can be a great benefit for strengthening your wireless network. And we're also going to discuss different types of wireless heat mapping vendors. You'll see them listed below. We have EcoHub, Acrylic, and SolarWind, and these are three vendors they do offer heat mapping programs for you to use. And the first one, this also, you can download a program for free. You can use it for home and small offices. And like I said, this program is free. And for larger deployments, you do have to, I believe there's a paid option for that. There's the site survey and the Wi-Fi planner tool. And it basically allows administrators to plan and create Wi-Fi networks according to performance and capacity requirements, and gives you a little bit more features than the home use or the free program as expected. And basically, with this, I did a hands-on demonstration. I actually downloaded the program and did a site survey in my living room, and I'll be showcasing that a little bit later to illustrate our experience with the service, and just showing that we did do a hands-on with heat mapping as well, just to show how it particularly works. Second one we're going to discuss is acrylic. They're also a vendor. It's a Spanish company, and it offers a 1 month perpetual license for their tool. And they have features such as WLAN heat map, AP coverage map, AP location map, and density map. They also give you the option of 3D coverage maps. You have some other features as displayed here. And this is a screenshot I did of acrylic, and you can see how their heat mapping works. And their reds are going to be their highest data points, and you can just see how they're. It's just a screenshot of their software in action. The third vendor we're going to discuss is SolarWinds. They were founded in 1998. And basically, they can offer a wireless heat map creation option to help identify dead zones, troubleshoot wireless access points. So their main focus is to eliminate those problematic dead zones and eliminate those problems with wireless access points. This is a screenshot of their software in action. As we discussed, the higher data points, the good signal areas, are going to be your hotter colors. So in this case, the red oranges are going to be your highest data points, and then your oranges and yellows, and of course your blues are going to be your problem areas with using this software. So now we are going to discuss a hands-on demonstration I did with EcoHall. And as we discussed, it is available free. You must enter your email information and number of routers to obtain the download link. It is sent to your email address, and then you can download the software. And you can. I would prefer to install it on a virtual machine, because I don't know if it has any adware or anything like that, but that's just my personal preference. So I downloaded the program, and I have installed it, and basically this is what it looks like once it's up and running, and it'll give you two options. You have either to use an existing floor plan or use a grid, and both will be used for the presentation. I'm going to go through the steps of using both options here. And the most preferred option is to use a map image. It's essentially easier to do it that way. So what I did first is I used MS Paint to compose a floor plan of my living room. I was having problems with Visio as far as getting that set up and getting a proper image, so I did just do MS Paint to compose a floor plan. On this next slide, we'll see what my floor plan looks like. So this is basically what my living room looks like as I completed it in MS Paint. And after you create your image, what you're going to want to do is save it as a .gif file, so they can read the image file, because EcoHall will be able to read .gif files. So that's why I use that particular extension. And essentially, the following information is displayed once the existing floor plan image is loaded. So we're going to look at that at the next slide. So this is what it looks like when it's in the program. You'll see that there's my access point right there, and this is how it's loaded in. And how you do a survey with this program is basically you carry your laptop around, you walk around your living room, In each place that you stop, you left click on the mouse and it tracks it. And once you're done, you'll right click the mouse to procure the heat map. So that's me taking a path around my living room. And then once I'm done, I right click to generate the heat map. And that's what it looks like with this software. Greens are going to be your higher data densities. So looking at this survey, my signal is pretty good. I have good signal throughout the living room. I do have some problems with signal bleed outside the residence, but that's expected with wireless communications. But like I said, the green signal signifies strong signal, and then yellow is poor signal. But as we see here, I have pretty good signal. And I did some additional surveys just to double check this, and as you see, that you can get different results just based on surveys, taking different surveys. Here, it looks like there's some problems. And the first one I had excellent signal. Here, it looks like in some parts of my living room I'm having poor signal on down towards the bedroom door. But on this one, I have excellent signal. So I believe it just depends on the path that you take as far as the accuracy of the heat map. Because obviously in the one on the left, I didn't take a lot of steps in my survey, so it reflected differently than the ones I walked around the entire living room. So depending on my steps in the survey, the signal in my home wireless network increased or decreased. And I do have pretty good wireless signal. I really don't have any problems with dead zones, trouble spots in my home wireless network. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to use the grid option, and this is a little bit more difficult to get an accurate reading because you're not using a floor plan, so it's just you're going off this grid. But when you select the grid option, you get this information as displayed on the screenshot on the right. There is my wireless access point at the top. So what I did is I walked around my living room again, and basically the same thing as the existing floor plan sample. Just clicking as you step, and then when you're finished, clicking again to generate the heat map. It's a little bit more tricky to accurately gauge your position with the grid option. So I mean, it's probably better to use a floor option versus a grid because it's just a lot more difficult to use than if you had a existing floor plan that you created. So my reflections with using this heat mapping software, it's a cost-efficient way to gauge your home wireless signal. It's free, which is a good thing. It means I don't have to pay for it, and I can gauge my wireless signal without having to pay. It is easy to use. I didn't really have any problems as far as using it or having to consult any discussion forums or anything like that, so it was pretty easy to figure out, and it helps improve the wireless efficiencies and signal strength as well. I do have some concerns with this heat mapping software. The problem with it is I kind of feel that it's a war driving roadmap, and the reason for that is that you can pull up all available access points. So if you live in an area, heavily populated area, you can pull up all available access points, and you can even sort them by security strength. So that's pretty concerning to me. It's also the accuracy is that you can have multiple access points for numerous home networks, and it may confound the data of your own wireless signal. So you will be taking a site survey, but the signal bleed from someone else's access point might be confounding the data of yours. So are you really getting an accurate picture? The detail, the free software obviously will not have the full range of abilities as paid options. So, in this case, you get what you pay for. Very minimal options, but you can still conduct a pretty decent heat map with this software. And that is the conclusion of our presentation. I do thank you for your time. The following slides will be our references, which you can see displayed below.